a self-storage owner or operator looking for service providers to help at your facility? Well, the Storage Business Owners Alliance, also known as the SBOA, has you covered. The SBOA is a premier online hub for connecting self-storage owners and operators to industry-leading products and service providers. We provide one-stop shopping for your business with exclusive offers to save time and money. At the SBOA, we believe by coming together, we help owners and operators grow revenue, gain purchasing power, reduce expenses, improve efficiencies, and increase profitability. We also offer many resources such as our conferences and Self-Storage Unlock webinars to help self-storage owners and operators gain the knowledge needed to become more competitive in the industry. To become an SBOA member or to find out more information, please visit www.thesboa.com today. We can't wait for you to join the Alliance.
Good morning, self-storage industry, and thank you for joining us today for another episode of Self-Storage Unlocked. Our topic today is self-storage insurance, liens, and the law, what you need to know. My name is Iris Segan. I am the president of the Storage Business Owners Alliance, better known as the SBOA. Before we get started, I do have a few quick housekeeping items just to share with you. If you have questions for our speakers today, please ask those in the chat area. I see some of you are already active there. We do our best to answer every question while we're here live. And in the event that for some reason we can't get to all of the questions, we do make sure we pass them all on to our panel so they can get back to you via email after the webinar is over. And also in the chat area and throughout the webinar, we will ask a few poll questions. So please take a quick moment to answer those poll questions. You'll see them go across the bottom, just like the ticker that's down there right now. And they'll also go into the chat. And answering those helps us better serve you. It helps us know our audience better and what kind of information you're looking for. So in today's session, we're going to cover some essential legal aspects of self-storage operations. Learn about the complexities of self-storage insurance, lien laws, and best practices for protecting your business and your customers. Whether you're a facility owner or a manager, this session is going to provide valuable insights to help you navigate these critical topics with some confidence. So I am going to bring up our first guest, and that is Nate Trone. Hi, Nate. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Iris?
Good. Congratulations on your new promotion.
Thank you.
Saw that go out this week. And why don't you tell everybody about SBOA TI, what you do there, and how you can help them?
Certainly. And just let me start off by saying thank you for your team for putting on this webinar. I know there's a lot going into the prep work of it. But my name is Nathaniel Trone, and I'm the Senior Manager of Business Development at Cornerstone Insurance Producers, with a focus on the SBOA TI program. Before I stepped into that role, I spent 8 years in the client management department, where I've really gained insight into both the operator and the tenant side of the benefits of tenant insurance. So with that said, I'm excited to dive into the topic today and to hear from the other panelists.
Great. Thank you, Nate. We'll bring you back up in a minute. Next up, I have Carlos Caslow. He is a partner at the Self-Storage Legal Network. How are you today, Carlos?
I'm doing well, Iris. How are you?
Great. So nice to see you here. Could you please tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do over at the Self-Storage Legal Network?
Okay. I'm a partner in the Self-Storage Legal Network with Scott Zucker, And the legal network is administered by the Self-Storage Association. So they handle the marketing and the administration and membership. And the network is a membership organization. And for an annual fee, the members can basically ask Scott or myself, and sometimes both, the operational questions that they have with legal content. And we've been doing this since I think we got on the road back in 1996.
Wow.
And so we've been doing it a long time. And if you've ever been to the Self-Storage Association trade shows, Scott and I usually close out with the Self-Storage Legal Network Power Hour. And the Power Hour is pretty much like what we do, either through email or on the telephone when a self-storage operator has an immediate question. And, unlike a lot of lawyers who say, I have to think about it, we never think about anything. No, we give you a course of action that you can handle, and primarily it's a function of the experience that we have in the industry, because we've both been doing this a long time. And even though the technology has changed and a number of things are different, the questions still seem to be the same about problems with customers, liens, and other issues.
Well, what you do, both of you, I saw Scott at the Michigan show last week, is great work, and we really appreciate everything you do for the industry. And I'm going to take you off screen, and we'll see you back in a couple of minutes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. And next up, I have Luke Shardlow from AI Lien. How are you today, Luke?
I'm doing well, thanks, Iris.
Good.
Carlos is a hard act to follow.
I know. Right. That's why they always bring Carlos and Scott on last at the shows, right?
Right, exactly.
Well, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about you and what you all do over at AI Lien?
Sure. Thanks, Iris. So I'm a recently sort of a new addition to the storage industry, and joined AI Lien back in April, and that was sort of my introduction to the industry. But have a substantial background in software and automation. And, it's been a fantastic introduction. Folks have been very welcoming, and I've really enjoyed getting to know organizations and the people in them. AI Lien is obviously a lien and compliance automation solution, but, we pride ourselves on being an automation platform to help our customers with efficiency in collections, all the way through to adhering to the law and being compliant state by state with the lien lifecycle. And we believe that our solution can deliver labor savings and allow our customers to focus on, NOI adding activities.
That's great. I can't wait to get into it and learn more about what you guys do over there, because I think you do not only saving people time and their ROI on their activities, but also making sure they're in compliance with the law, which is extremely important, of course.
Correct. Yeah.
So, I will see you back in just a moment. Thank you. And last but not least, we have Rachel Lewis, the Director of Revenue Management for Absolute Storage Management. How are you, Rachel?
Good. Good morning, everybody.
Thank you for joining us this morning. Can you tell us a little bit about you and what Absolute Storage Management does?
Yes, so I've been in storage with Absolute for about 8 years now. And Absolute Storage Management is a third-party operator. So we are the more customizable option to REIT management. And we have been using SBOA TI as our tenant insurance program for as long as I can remember, with Nate actually being our account manager for quite a while. And I worked with Nate for quite a while.
That's awesome. Yeah. And, I say it all the time. There's a reason SBOA TI has been voted #1 through ISS for, I think it's 12 or 13 years running now. So we're happy to have you here as sort of a testimonial and help other people navigate the same issues that your tenants or your operators that you work with are dealing with. So, all right. So we have everyone back. I wanted to start with Carlos and ask you to walk us through some of the key legal considerations that self-storage operators should be aware of when they're drafting a rental agreement.
Oh, something that's near and dear to my heart. We do a lot of rental agreements. The rental agreement, I think, is probably the most important document in the business, because it is essentially the ground rules of the relationship between the storage operator and the tenant or customer. And the starting point is the nature of the relationship. And that is landlord-tenant. Though the word storage figures prominently in most of the facilities' names, we're not in the storage business per se, not like a warehouse or other types of baileys. Instead, self-storage operators rent empty space, which is a pretty good deal if you can figure it out. And the industry does not have a relationship with the tenant's property, and making sure that nature of the relationship, the landlord-tenant relationship, is clear is one of the functions that the self-storage rental agreement performs. Now, this is also stated actually in quite a number, most of the lien laws also reaffirm this concept, but you really want that in the rental agreement. The next item, and these are sort of on the mundane level, is that the relationship is a month-to-month tenancy. Self-storage operators aren't generally entering into 3 or 5 year leases with options to renew. They're kind of going steady with their customers. They're not getting married to their tenants for long periods of time. So just realize that it's a month-to-month tenancy, and that makes termination very easy. The termination period of a tenant is not greater than 30 days if you're on a month-to-month tenancy. So again, you want the rental agreement to reflect that. You get into some other issues that become important because self-storage operators have a significant amount of other people's property on their premises. And one of the things you want to be able to control is sort of the aggregate value of that type of how much property you actually have it. And if you do a little math, if you've got a 500 space facility, it doesn't take a whole lot of value to add up into the millions of dollars. So we have a value limitation. We use a default of $5,000, and this is primarily just to give you some control over the basic. It's a number that can be raised if a tenant has a strong use for it, but one of the effects of this particular provision has been when you get a lawsuit for $80,000, which I just saw recently, and you have a rental agreement that says that the maximum value of property stored is $5,000. In today's legal environment, that provision will be usually enforced. Every now and then you run into an outlier judge or an arbitrator, but I would say you can pretty much count on it. And one of the reasons for that is over the years, in its legislative efforts, the SSA has actually put that principle into law. That if you have a dollar limitation of the value that the tenant may store, you want that will be deemed the property. We just had a case out of Indiana where an operator probably went down the wrong road because they set that number at $100. And the court wasn't too pleased with that. And that was a situation where they would not enforce it. So I think, but these are the things that you're a landlord, short-term rentals, and in my mind, you have fairly large aggregates of other people's property at your facility, and you really do have to address these issues directly. And, there's the other things like rent and things like that. But these are the things I think are somewhat unique to self-storage.
Great. And Luke, So is there anything you like to see in a lease agreement that applies, as far as liens go? Hopefully we don't get to that point, of course.
I again, you have me following Carlos. I think what we think is unique about our service is that we are customizable. And what does that mean? Well, we don't necessarily provide lease language, right? I would reinforce Carlos's points around the limitation of value, because that so often comes up in cases when there is a challenge. But typically, what we like to do is to enable our customers' take on leases, and we try and leave the legal stuff to folks like Carlos.
Can I say one thing that is directly applicable to Luke? And that is that most states have a specific rental agreement requirements for the storage operator to have a valid lien. And most typically, it's some kind of notice in the rental agreement that the storage operator has a lien on the tenant property, and the property may be sold if rent is not paid. And then you have states like California and Michigan that add in that you have to have the contact information for another person to whom lien notices can be sent. But it's really important for you to have a valid lien, that you be aware of the statutory requirements, and they're a little bit different for every state.
Thanks, Carlos. It brings up a really good point, which is that what we do is we facilitate that customization across jurisdictions. So Carlos is talking about the variety of notices and requirements by state. You need to be able to implement that consistently for